In Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 6, do you thus requite Yod He Vav He, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he your father that has bought you? Has not he made you and established you? Does Moses say Yod He Vav He is the father of Israel in this verse?
Yeah, that can be applied to the father, yeah.
Does Moses refer to the father as a he in the question, is he not your father?
Yeah.
Is he a singular pronoun?
He is a singular pronoun, yeah.
In standard grammatical usage, would he indicate that the father in question is one person?
No, because in Hebrew, you can use a plurality sense for singularity. Like, for instance, you can say Israel is referred to a he, right? But yet, it's a group of people. It could be referred to a singularity, but yet...
Well, no, because Israel refers to Jacob, who is an actual individual. Now, it refers to Jacob, the individual, in a broader sense that encompasses the nation, which are all Jacob's descendants. But Israel, when it refers to Israel as he, actually is referring to the person of Jacob. The same way that it has always referred to a people by the name of the person which they are progenitors of. We read that all throughout the Old Testament.
Multiple people.
I won't comment on that, but I'm going to say, is there any other grammatical examples which a multi-personal father would be referred to as a he? A multi-personal father, not a nation of people.
You're talking about as a multi-personal father?
Yes.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Do you believe that the Father, the Son, and the Spirit are the Father of Israel?
Yeah, in the sense of being the source of Israel, but not as the person of the Father.
Okay. So is there anywhere else that you can find a multi-personal father, multiple persons, same father of the same child or children, that's referred to as a he?
If you're asking me, can I find a multi-personal father? Well, you can just refer to God as in the sense of, it can be applied to the Father in the sense of like Deuteronomy, but it can still be applied to the Father in itself.
Do you think that theology supersedes grammar?
I believe context supersedes the grammar.
Is the word Abba in singular usage ever referring to a multitude in the Bible?
Abba?
Abba means father, singular, a multitude.
Yes, only when it's referring to God.
No, not seen.
Okay. So I think it would be a false equivalency for you to try to say that when you talk about a nation as a whole, referring to a singular, and when you talk to a father, which is one, unless there's more than one, then it becomes fathers. I think that's a false equivalency.
Well, it depends on how you're using it in context about father, because father can refer to a person or it can refer to God as in sense of Yahweh. So Yahweh can be called father in the sense of he takes care of Israel, but not in the sense of a person. So father can be...
Right, understand what he's doing here. The argument is essentially, every time that it appears, it refers to an individual. Anytime it refers to God, because God is a plurality of persons, then it doesn't refer to an individual. Right? He's actually superimposing his doctrine into the premise of his answer, instead of just answering the question with a proper answer, or with a proper coherent answer. It's essentially, the question is, okay, does father refer to an individual? The answer is, when it refers to human beings, yes. When it refers to God, no, because God is multi-personal, right? So you understand like why that's problematic, is that the purpose of the question is to establish that God is not multi-personal if father refers to an individual. And the reason that grammar is important here is because the onus actually is on Kopa here to explain the grammatical mechanisms that distinguish where it is an individual in reference to a person and it's not an individual in reference to God. You can't just say, well, because it refers to God, it's not an individual. You actually have to explain that with grammar, because it would be obvious in grammar, right? Because you can't just assume Trinitarianism into the text. Right? That's not letting the text speak for itself. That's injecting your doctrine into the text and then reading it back to yourself. That's the interesting thing, right? I always hear, because it's a James White specialty, to tell a Unitarian, well, you're assuming Unitarianism into the text. Well, no, I'm not, right? But that's also not an argument, because I can just point the finger back at you and go, you're assuming Trinitarianism into the text, which is what Kopa is doing right now. He is assuming Trinitarianism into the text. God's friend, you're actually being very patient with him at this point. I probably would have gotten a little more frustrated by now personally. And it's not to say you probably are feeling some frustration in this moment, but I think you're handling it very delicately, very, very patiently. Props on that.
He applied to that.
Do you know what special pleading is?
Yeah, if I'm just begging the question.
It means that you're posing an exemption over a
right
universal principle. It's a double standard. If you can't produce any evidence, or I'm going to ask you this in a question, can you produce any evidence of a multi-personal father anywhere in existence that goes by a singular pronoun?
Yeah, God doesn't talk in a sense of that. That's why we say that in Deuteronomy, you can apply that in the sense of a multi-personal father, because that doesn't explicitly meaning that it's a one singular person.
Is the Bible literature?
Yeah.
How can we understand this literature if there's no grammatical rules?
What do you mean? How can you? I don't understand the question.
How can we understand the Bible if there's no grammatical rules of speech?
Right. See, now he's driving at exactly what I said was the onus of proof that's on Kopa right now. Is if you're going to say, well, it's an individual when it refers to people, it's not an individual when it refers to God because God is multi-personal. And so it can't refer to an individual when it refers to God. That would be implicit in the grammar of the Hebrew text itself. There would be some mechanism, there would be some tense, some phrasing, something different that distinguishes this use of the word father from every other use where it refers to a human being. There would be some, other than the subject of it being God, there would be some other mechanism that incorporates multi-personality into this word to describe God, right? It's not God is multi-personal, so the word father doesn't mean that. What would actually happen is that, well, this tense of the word father incorporates and connotes a sense of multi-personality, and that's how we know that the God that it refers to is multi-personal, is because this word father is multi-personal. Not God is multi-personal, so father is not singular in this aspect. It would be that father in this aspect is not singular, and that's how we know that God is multi-personal, right? It's the opposite of what he's trying to argue. That's how the grammatical rules would work, and that's what God's friend here is driving at.
You just learn it by the context of how the word is being used.
How could you determine context when there's no grammar?
There is grammar by using the words.
Yet for some reason, is it true that Trinitarians frequently assign their own definitions or remodify grammatical rules?
No, we just read it based on context.
Is the word Elohim singular or plural?
It can be grammatically. It is plural.
Grammatically,
it is plural.
And if we were to use it as a plural, how would we translate that?
It just in plural for Elohim, would just be Elohim.
If we were to translate it into English as plural, how would we translate that?
It'd be gods.
What's that?
It'd be gods in English.
How do Trinitarians translate Elohim in regarding the Trinity?
We just say one God instead of God.
But how many persons?
It can be multiple persons. Still be
but
one.
It's not three gods.
No.
Is that special pleading?
No, that's not special pleading.
Yes, it is.